Hello, this is Huda Abuarquob, and I'm the Regional Director of the Alliance for Middle East Peace. And today I'm with you to celebrate 10 years of Forward Global Women. I will start with a quote of our beloved Rula Quawas, who's one of the founders of Forward Global Women. Women do not want to be seen as a piece of meat, but a soul, a mind, and a heart. I have faith it will happen. Maybe not in my lifetime, but it will happen. And it is happening, Rula, wherever you are in the world, in a peaceful, much more peaceful place. It is happening, and it's happening because of organizations like Forward Global Women. Today, celebrating 10 years, we are calling on Sandy Pappas and Rina Bar Tal, two of the founders of Forward Global Women, to have with us a conversation about how did it all start. The floor is yours, Sandy and Rina.
Thank you. Sandy.
Hi, Rina.
Hi.
And hello, everyone who's joined us today. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years, right, Rina?
Yep. It's been 10 years.
We put together a few slides just to go down memory lane so we can talk about how we founded Forward Global Women. And do you remember, Rina, when we found Rula? Rula was, she was a academic in Jordan, in Amman, and she founded the Feminist Women's Studies program at the University of Amman and was very much involved with the Women's Center. And we were very lucky to find her. You and I also found each other by accident.
Yeah. One day I get a phone call into my car, and this senator from Minnesota is speaking to me in English, and she's going on and on and on. I'm saying, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. So that's how we started. And I came to Jerusalem to meet with you. That was in the year 2000. And then for 10 years, we had exchanges of women activists between Minnesota and the Israel Women's Network. And then at the end of that era, which is 10 years ago, you said, okay, women, ladies, I need to bring peace to the Middle East. That's what you said. Yep. And I was nodding like Rula, like Huda is nodding now and saying, what is she talking about? She's really so naive. She really thought we can do it. But women of hope, women with energies, women with good intuitions, women who like to put up good fights. We said, okay, Sandy, if that's what you want to do, let's give it a try. So go ahead.
Well, it's personal to me because I have this large family living in Israel. And in fact, I'm in Sfat right now with 29 grandchildren and 1 great-grand. And, but the first big convening we had was with Jordan, with Israel. And we also had some women from Northern Africa. We began to bring women from Morocco and Egypt and Tunisia. And go to the next slide, Lily. Because Rina said to me, Sandy, I think we can learn from the Irish and what happened with them with their peace agreement. So we invited Monica McWilliams, who was the head of the Irish Women's Party and was at the peace table for the Good Friday Agreement. And she came with her sister and did a training with us on conflict resolution and peacemaking.
And there was some experience because here was a live person who really led a whole campaign in Ireland, and she was successful. And you know, we're still looking up to her, and we have kept on trying after the meeting with her to meet other women and other people and discuss various other issues. So if you want to go on to 2014 and 15.
In Berlin. So we had, Rina said to me, well, Sandy, we can't just always travel to St. Paul and to Minnesota for convenience. Let's go somewhere closer for us. And so we went to Berlin and we met at right near the Brandenburg Gate at the Allianz Center. And we invited the International Civil Action Network to come and talk with us about the UN Security Resolution 1325, which really says that women need to be at the peacemaking table at all stages. And here is one of the staff people that met with us. And I think this was the first time we had Tunisia, actually was Berlin.
And we actually chose a topic which was relevant to all participants, to all women from the MENA region. And we wanted to see how we can apply a UN resolution to our area. And at that time already, there were several municipalities in our countries that started to talk about it. So this has been some years ago. I don't know what advances were made in other countries, but again, we took it as a topic because we did want to bring it to the table.
And then the next year, we were back in Minnesota at my request, and we had Manal Omar, who was our keynote speaker from the U.S. Peace Institute. And that topic was, what was that topic, Rina, that year?
Women, at that year was Women Challenges for Security and Peace, Rights and Equality in the MENA region.
That's right. And also on the corner, you see a picture of Congresswoman Betty McCollum. She has been very involved with our organization and has met with us and spoke with us at many events, both our convenings and some of our other meetings. And that brings us to the next year, which is Cyprus, yes. Again, very close to the Middle East. And here we are, we're being hosted by the US Ambassador to Cyprus. And this is a picture of our group.
And at that time, there were already the refugee issues. The issues of refugees was
in Syria, right?
Was very big in our region. Again, we tried to be relevant to the topics in our region. So the Syrian refugees, especially in Jordan, and I remember very well that the Jordanian team took a very big part in their presentations and discussed the issues, which some of us, of course, knew it exists, but it brought us many facts and figures and the difficulties and problems. And of course, what interests us always throughout the years was connecting women to these issues, okay? And go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, well, and we also invited a group in Israel called Women Wage Peace that works with Israelis and Palestinians and has been very active throughout the country and with demonstrations outside the Knesset and around the country and with small group discussions. And Huda, you've been involved with that group as well.
Yes, actually, that summer in Cyprus, it was the first time I was joined Forward Global Women, and there the idea of Women Wage Peace was presented to us, and since then we've been active with the group, and it's growing every year. It's more than 45,000 women in Israel, and we are now in the middle of creating also a Palestinian movement. One day, hopefully, our dream of seeing women taking an action that is directed towards peace is going to be realized. And I have a question for both of you. Why women?
Because I think for two reasons. One, it connects us naturally, no doubt. And the second point is that women all over the world are not involved enough in issues that have to deal with our lives as countries, nations, society, communities. We see that except with the Scandinavian countries and some countries in Africa, most of the world still doesn't have women as number ones. In our country, we've made a nice progress in the past 10, 15 years. We have more women mayors this time than we had 20 years ago. So the empowerment of women to be role models for women, to discuss the problems that we have. I always say we don't have exceptional problems, we have additional problems. So who is going to take care of our problems if we don't? And one more point I'd like to make is that 1325 puts it right on the head, saying that if we have instances where in conflict areas, if women would have been active, would have been allowed to participate, because we have tried. I believe, and my colleagues believe, and I'm sure all of us here believe, that the situation in the MENA countries, especially in Israel, would have been different.
And we only have a few more minutes. So next we have, actually, Huda came with us also to Oslo, where we were hosted by the Peace Research Institute of Oslo. And there we really were talking about anti-terrorism. And we know that that's really an ongoing issue as we see what just happened recently at the Afghanistan airport with a very extreme terrorist group killing their own country people. And women are all the victims.
This was also the first event that Rula did not participate. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Rula was not well a few days before. We communicated with her from Oslo. I still have WhatsApp messages from Oslo, and she wasn't well. And we returned home, I believe, on Monday. And I still spoke with Rula on Monday, and she passed away on Tuesday. So it's just a point to note and to remember, because some of this and most of this has to do with her as a co-founder as well. Go ahead, Sandy.
The next year we were in DC, again without Rula, and we did Lobbied on the Hill. And this is a wonderful picture that a group met with Bernie Sanders. We met with other members of Congress who are on the Foreign Relations Committee and their staff as well. But I picked this one because everyone remembers who Bernie Sanders is. And then finally in 2019, we ended up in Morocco. And I forgot to mention in DC, we were lobbying on the Hill on issues around refugees and around the Israeli-Palestinian Peace Fund, which I believe Congress has finally passed. So that was
now.
And I know ALLMEP has really been lobbying for that as well. So here we are in Morocco, and which was our last in-person convening, because after that we had to go to webinars because of COVID. And I believe, Lily, we have one slide left. Our theme in Morocco was the impact of climate change on women, which again, you see what's happening around the world with droughts, et cetera, with high temperatures. That's very significant. So here we all are in 2020, where we had our online webinar. We had unfortunately, well, we had planned to meet in either Sevilla, Spain that year or this year, or in Athens. And again, because of the Delta variant, we haven't been able to schedule anything. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, I'd just like to say one more word to sort of close this part and say that both Sandy and myself, we are female politicians. Huda, that's also a vital point to Forward Global Women. And today, after Rula passed away as an academic woman that came from the academia and enriched us with a lot of knowledge, which is very important, Professor Fatima Sadiqi, who will speak a little bit later on, sort of replaces that chair and enables us at Forward Global Women to be women that represent women that come from the political arena, women that come from the academic arena, and together I think it's a nice and positive and productive combination.
And women from civil society too.
Yes.
So we come from 3 different areas.
Thank you both very much. If nothing, Forward Global Women is one of very few organizations that brings women from all over the MENA region together, which is a rare commodity sometimes. Not every woman in the Arab world and in North Africa can actually meet in one place. So thank you for giving us that place and that voice. And now we will transition to celebrating, I would say, Rula, because Rula would never leave us. Even if she left with her body, she is still very much instilled in every one of us. And I want to start again with another quote of hers. She is our guru when it comes to feminism. I understand that you cannot force feminism on people, she says. When a young woman comes to me and tells me, I have wings, but I know I will never, ever use them, that pains me. And that pain is still there, and we are all carrying it with you, Rula. And today, few of your friends are going to celebrate you with us. We will start first with a slide show that is prepared by Forward Global Women, in which we will see the light that comes with Rula every time you see her smile. And then we will get her best friend, close friend, Mary Hattar, to speak to us about Rula and her relationship to her.
I can look the other way, but you may not serve. 1,000 miles between us anyway. I'm too far to hear you pray. But what if one day I would see you could have been me? Then we wouldn't be so far, and then I wouldn't stand for this war. But I'm safe and sound, I'm home at night, warm and dry, away from the fight. It's hard to imagine this could have been me. It's hard to imagine losing everything. But what if one day I would see you could have been me? Then we wouldn't be so far, and then I wouldn't stand for this war. What if one day they came for me, or even worse for my family? Then we wouldn't be so far, and then I wouldn't stand for this war. Oh.
Rest in peace, Habibti Rula. Your smile is contagious, and we are all looking at you and smiling. Mary, you are a close friend of Rula. Tell us more.
There is no words can heal a broken heart. After I saw Rula, I can't stop crying. The first time I met Rula, I have for the International Day for Women, I have essay in the journal Al-Rai in Jordan. She took my essay and discussed it with the student. And by the end, she said, this is for Mary Hattar's voice. Then my daughter was a student with her. She asked her, do you know this lady? She told her, she's my mom. Then she said, I want to meet this lady. Then we arranged and I saw her. And since that day, we became friends. And we did a lot of things together. Some of the things, because I used to read poetry for her, she used to read things for me from her books, you know. Then on 2011, first when I ran for the election, she let her student to support my campaign, and she helped me a lot with that. Then on 1911, we have our own organization, Women Helping Women, to empower women in politics in Jordan. And because we have all the things for charity, but we never have things for politics to empower women. So we began this organization, and I was the first leader for this organization. Then we have a program together to educate the refugees from Iraq. Because one time I went with the Minister of in charge for charity, and one of the girls, she told us, I need books because I am worried the girls in Iraq is going better than me. Then we discussed it. Then all the students, she have the Oriental students, they began the program with us to teach those children and do programs in English, in math, in science, in music, in different things. And we made library in everywhere. We used to collect books for those students and library just for them to read because they have nothing to do in their camps. Then after I think 14, we came back. We have the unit for the Resolution 1325, and we began to work with this inside Jordan. She used to like all the things I used to cook for her. And she used to like my Lebanese, Lebanese bowls, the yogurt bowls, the za'atar, the peaches. And the most sad thing for me, the night before she passed, we spent 47 minutes talking. And she told me, Mary, I am so sad. This is the last dinner from the things you sent for me. I told her, don't worry, I'll send you a fresh one, za'atar, Lebanese, tatli, and everything. Sometimes my daughter offers just across the street from her home. I used to send, food, things for her. And she used to be very happy, because when she found, these things in front of her door, her heart broke when she lost her sister. And the most broken heart I saw in my life when she lost her mom. Her mom name is Hanne, and she used to call her Hannoun. After her mom passed, I felt like she had a broken heart. She's like a baby looking the whole day. She needs her mom. She said, I don't want to come back home for the empty house. So she used too much depression on herself. I used to comfort her, but nothing. Some people, can't be forgotten, not repeated. And Professor Rula Quawas was definitely one of those people. Not only because of her beautiful spirit she had, but also because the great legacy she left behind her. And the legacy can be found in what her students learned from her. The classroom was a place she belonged to more than anywhere else. And her students, because, she used to tell me stories about her students and how they act. And sometimes they have problems. We used to discuss things for her students. And her students were the ones mostly influenced by her feminist views and perspective. And she let everybody believe in himself, because she used to say, you are not a body. You are the soul. You are the happiness. You are the mind. So she never let anybody of her students, boy or girls, feel down. And she tried to let each of her students get out the best of him and let him feel that he is a successful person. Don't look around you. Don't compare yourself with anybody. Just you are unique, and you're supposed to act like you. Nobody look like you, because you could do different things in different way. And always the word I used to hear from her, always be empowered. A simple words I used to hear from a great professor. I can't even imagine that these simple words affect my whole life. A great woman, she could give love wherever she go.
I can see how, Mary, I can see how she is living through you also. You are speaking her words And I see how you are also affected emotionally by her presence in your life. I really want to thank you, and I want to give you a last word to say to the audience.
I just, want to say some of her words because she used to
Please
send
do.
She believed that love was about respect, and no words can heal a broken heart. She used to tell me, life only comes around once, so do whatever makes you happy, and be with whoever makes you smile. It is be there for others, but never be yourself behind. Never put yourself behind anyone. It's better to walk alone than with a crowd going to the wrong direction. If you could make a different line for your life, don't go with the others if you don't believe with them. I don't want a perfect life. I want a happy life. And if you find yourself constantly trying to prove your worth to someone, you have already forgotten your value. Because she believe wherever we believe, she used to sometimes, you just have to die a little inside in order to be reborn and raised again as a stronger and wiser. She used to, every time she used to send me a little paragraph to make me feel better. Sometimes, when you feel, when I used to feel sad, she supported me. She go through too much difficulties in the university. I used to stop by her. And by the end, I know she worked hard to make her life eternal by all the things she left for us, and by the generation who's going to follow her steps. And she changed their attitude, she changed their way of looking for the woman. And I think this generation is going to be different because he handled the life different with a nice vision. Somebody put the seeds inside their heart and their mind.
And we will continue with her legacy with us, Mary.
Yes, I just want to thank Forward Global Women as a part of the team in Jordan for their generosity and for her good memorial. And I wish, she believed the last night she told me, I want you to make a promise for me. I said, what? She told me to keep on with Forward Global Women. I told her, if you are not there, I'll never go again. She said, promise me, just you keep there and lead the team. I told her, where are you going? And it's so sad. By the end of the day, she passed. And we're supposed to meet on Thursday. And on Thursday, we were on her funeral.
Habibti Mary, I feel your pain, and I know that she's your friend and you're missing her a lot. We all miss her, but her words and her legacy lives through you and through everyone who is a member of Forward Global Women. She was not just an inspiration in terms of feminism. She was also an inspiration when it comes to academia and research. And with this, I want to give the floor to Pnina Steinberg, who worked on, she's going to present to us research she did about wonders and outcomes of deep contact. This is specifically zones of Forward Global Women. Pnina, the floor is yours. And you need to unmute yourself, Habibti.
I know. Okay. Hi. I know. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Huda, for the introduction, and thank you, Rina, Sandy, and Fatima for inviting me to speak today. I will share with you some of the parallel personal and professional processes induced by Forward Global Women's Initiative. Mainly, I would like to argue that Forward Global Women provides ample opportunities for reimagining relationship in our region, just like the founders had hoped for. When Rina first invited me to join Forward Global Women in 2015, she told me that one of the co-founders is Professor Rula Quawas of Jordan. I looked her up and found her background was in American literature. Good, I thought. This will give us some common grounds for communication. At the time, I was interested in Marie-Louise Pratt's concept of contact zone. And since Marie-Louise Pratt was an American literature scholar, I was hoping Professor Quawas would know of her. Marie-Louise Pratt described contact zone as a meeting place of people who typically do not meet as their countries do not have a joint border. These are spaces where cultures meet, clash, and grapple with each other, often in a highly asymmetrical relationship of domination and subordination, and where people are being redefined inside and by their relations and not by their country's relations. I suspect that Forward Global Women convening will be such a contact zone. So back in 2015, Rina's invitation ignited my imagination. The idea of meeting women from my region, neighbors, which I have no other way to meet, was irresistible to me. Marie-Louise Pratt had in mind contexts of slavery and colonialism, but soon after her publication, researchers found her concepts to be useful in other contexts too, where people from cultures with no direct contact, regardless of geographical borders, meet and interact. Contact zone is a place of many emotions. It is a dangerous place where people can get hurt. Marie-Louise Pratt talks about rage, incomprehension, and pain of the contact zone, but she also mentions moments of wonder and revelation, mutual understanding, and new wisdom that can occur in the contact zone. These expected contradictions between chances and risks, opportunities and dangers make up the temptation of the contact zone. It was only logical to expect that Forward Global Women's convening would also hold tensions, negotiations, innovations, adventures. I first met Professor Rula Quawas the night before the convening. She excited me with immediate connection, seemingly on a professional grounds. On the first night on a crosswalk, I asked her if she knew of Marie-Louise Pratt's contact zone. She did. Her typical joyous manner joined my excitement, and right then and there, when we burst into almost a dance of joy, I felt true, authentic connection, which was surprising to me because she's from Jordan, I'm from Israel. She has her history, I have mine. Sure, the grounds of the connection were professional and agreements on conceptualizations of what was really going on Forward Global Women's convening. But I think both of us felt at that moment, at that day, that it's more than that. And excitement and pleasures of communication felt like a real adventure that just has opened. Later in this convening, some of the women could hardly make eye contact with me or with my fellow Israeli delegates and left us puzzled and sometimes hurt. Others inspired us with their brave leading of private or public revolutionary acts of women liberation and with their courage to speak with us Israelis. Rula and I started to develop a joint project to test and disseminate our understanding of the nature and possible outcomes of Forward Global Women's contact zone. Let me tell you a little bit about our project. Our project was intended to document the lived experiences of women's security. We started with Jordan and Israel, and by the second year of the project, Professor Fatima Sadiqi gracefully joined us and added Morocco to the project. In the spirit of feminist methodologies, we built our understanding of the concept and phenomena of security with women in which we had an interest. We started a series of interviews, focus groups, and field work, and this quickly became a project of multiple contact zones. Researchers and participants across countries, religions, and languages were all trying to reach understanding of security-related experiences. The personal security project paralleled Forward Global Women's social process and developed it. We were part of the knowledge exchange and we took it outside official meetings. For a year, Rula and I met every 2 weeks on Skype for 30 minutes for learning, training, and project building. Rula introduced me to the feminist thinkers of the Arab world. I taught her qualitative methodologies and ethics. We did some interviews and focus groups, and we started talking to women about their experiences, but that did not seem to be enough for us. We wanted to expand the contact zone we so enjoyed. We ended up building a small experimental participatory action research in which we hoped to not only voice women's concerns, but also let women meet and interact, at least virtually. An experiment within an experiment. We each chose some texts from the interviews we had and exchanged us. We gave an exchange between our participants. We sent some texts to Israelis and to Jordanians. And we took a text from an Israeli woman and sent it to Jordanians and Israelis and vice versa. And this all yielded some insights about women's security of the region. Since this project was so interesting and important for Rula, I'd like to expand a little bit on the Jordan and Israeli exchange. This is a text from Jordan, for example, and I'll read it. For me, one woman said to Rula, personal security has always meant having the support of my immediate family. It also means getting married and having children. As you know, marriage for us is sutra. At the age of 16, my life turned upside down on my wedding night when we consummated our marriage. His mother was in the room. I felt insecure and awkward. When I told my husband that the whole situation is weird and unacceptable, he hit me really hard that I could not get up in the next day. My personal security got shattered. My life was broken. I have often been told that I will not need anyone in my life since I have a husband who will take care of me. What a big lie. What an illusion. And I want to share with you just a bit of reaction from one of the women from Jordan who said to us, something that I can deeply connect is her having to give up her own security in favor of family and others. And a bit of a reaction from Israel. I thought that the narrator's life history and mine could not be more different. After some thought, I realized that we have much in common. I was a victim of family narrative too. I thought mental and physical abuse were what I deserved. The table you see here is a table that Rula prepared to sum up all the concepts she heard from women, or all the words that were connected to their stories of security. And following compiling of this table, she came up with a few insights that she really thought we should carry on. First, she said Jordanian women interpret their experiences through the lens of traditional views of religion, family, love, marriage, and communities. And religious was a very big one, of course, and especially the notion of trusting God for protection. And for me, writes Rula, the women's tying in their personal security with the religious discourse is very telling. It shows that they are using this highly valued discourse as a way to escape from their oppressive situation. Since religion is their refuge and heaven, they will never, ever be able to negotiate the meaning of personal security in a serious fashion. The institution of family proves also to fail Jordanian women. All of the women respondents believed when they were young that their families will provide. Excuse me? Did you say something to me?
No, it wasn't. It was some.
Oh, sorry. So the institution of family also failed Jordanian women. And when they were young, they thought that families will protect them, as we saw at one of the quotes. And many of the older women have said that they are indoctrinated at an early age to believe that they are nothing without their families and later their husbands. Following all those insights, Rula phrased a working definition of personal security, and she phrased it with these 4 points. Security for Jordanian women and possibly for more women of the region is owning who you are as a full-fledged human being, creating a space for yourself where you can self-cultivate and reach a state of transcendence. I'd like to share with you some of Fatima's stories and maybe some of mine too, if we still have time. And Huda, please let me know if it's too
We
much.
have 2 minutes, Pnina.
2 minutes, so I will skip the stories, maybe the stories, but I was going to show that some of the texts echo each other in Israel and in Morocco. And I will skip my examples too, and I'll just skip right to the end, to what I wanted to conclude with, okay? I'd like to conclude with reframing Forward Global Women's potential as a deep contact zone. And I'll do so by adding teachings of Geertz's concept of deep play. Clifford Geertz, an anthropologist, in his iconic paper, Deep Play, Notes on a Balinese Cockfight from '73, refers to a form of gambling in which the stakes are so high that it is irrational to engage in it at all. He also suggested that there are more than purely economic considerations at stake. Balinese cockfight are not at all about money, but what the money gambling set in motion, the migration of status hierarchies into the body of the cock in the fight. Thus, it is about status gambling. It is more about meaning making than about making money.
Yeah.
I suggest Forward Global Women's contact zone is indeed a deep play or deep contact zone, sometimes risky and with questionable rationality if you think in terms of the immediate investments of time, money, and effort, and all the involved obvious sensitivities and emotions. But it is also at the same time such a great generator of new models of communication and new imaginations of our troubled regional neighborhood. And altogether forms no less than courage and hope for the women participating. And I think this goes in line with my friend Rula's thoughts and actions. I'd like to close with thanking you all for your attention and wishing Forward Global Women good luck, and to all of you participants, so that may you all experience and expand the wonders of the deep contact zone.
Thank you, Pnina, so much. This was a beautiful attribute to Rula's work and your work, and to all the women in the world whose security for them is a huge issue. And I think we as Forward Global Women should think of how we can take your presentation forward somehow and make it available to everyone. Really appreciate it. And now it's my honor to present to you Professor Fatima Sadiqi, which is meeting her or being in the same room with her is a lifetime event. I'm honored to present to you Rula's friend and partner in giving a voice to the voiceless in the world, Professor Fatima Sadiqi. The floor is yours, Habibti.
Thank you so much, Huda. Thank you, Forward Global Women. I'm extremely happy to be part of today. And I'm extremely happy to be part of remembering Rula. Well, I share a lot of things, or I shared a lot of things with her. But last night, going through her emails, and especially through our conversations, I have selected to put the focus on gender studies. This is the thing that brought us together, and I still have all the conversations on my Forward Global part of my files. Well, I was in the process of actually mapping gender studies and women's studies in the Arab world. And this brought me to Rula as one of the leaders, because I interviewed 25 leaders and she was one of them. And today, in remembering her, I want to focus on that. Her ideas about gender studies was something that I found in one of her emails. She said it's a way of democratizing our universities. I translated it later into democratizing knowledge. She also wanted to highlight the students' knowledge. She had great hopes in women's study, in Jordanian women in her universities. Another thing that I took from her answers was that she wanted to open venues for female students in the MENA region. And it was throughout the discussions that I discovered, for example, that the Middle East and North Africa share a lot. I mean, including Israel, they share a lot when it comes to patriarchy, women, tribalism, all these things that gender studies and women's studies try to debunk. So a specific sociocultural context, that's what actually something that Rula and I shared, and one of my projects is to write on this specific topic later on. She was also, I mean, something that I liked in her way of looking at gender studies at her universities is to look at it as a bridge between academia and activism. So a lot of activities the student needed to do had to do with civil society, had to do with having like a stay with an NGO, trying to bridge the gap. It's something that I also do here in Fez, where my students, for example, do the same thing. So, I mean, in a nutshell, she wanted to decolonize knowledge, something which is now becoming a big topic in academia, how to decolonize knowledge and look at it from within. And this is something that was that took us into theories. What type of theories can we use? Can we, because both her and me benefited a lot from Western theories, but we wanted to also use our own theories that deal with our own people, while at the same time keeping bridges with a transnational feminism and gender studies theories, etc. I will end by saying that one thing that Forward Global Women did, and which I pledged to take ahead, I mean, as much as I can, is this creation of the Rula Quawas Fellowship. It's something that has become very close to my heart, and we have already had 2 brilliant essays from a Jordanian and a Moroccan. We have ideas for the future, but anyway, this is to show you that Rula created things in this field as well. Both she and she was a university professor. I am a university professor. You can easily see how much we share together. So it is this legacy of knowledge that I want to remember today, and I don't want it to be forgotten. Thank you all for making this possible. I want her legacy to continue at the university level. At the university level, we make things continue by publication, by publishing them. And I want this to continue. This is my wish today. Thank you very much.
And it's a call for us, Professor Fatima, publishing more and more of this finest work of you beautiful women who have led the way for us to live in a more democratized society. Appreciate it so much. And now we are going to move to one of Rula's students who and co-authors. She worked with her closely for a long time, Samia Smadi. And I wanted to all of us remember the work that she's done, Rula did, called The Voice of Being Enough, Young Jordanian Women Break Through Without Breaking Down. What a brilliant collection of life stories of more than 100 Jordanian women and 4 men. And Rula addressed the audience towards the end saying, when you grow into enoughness, and this is a real word that she created, you change and thrive, and you can change the world with you. Samia Habibti, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Huda. Thank you, everybody, for your remarks and presentations, and congratulations, Forward Global Women, for your 10th anniversary. And if you may allow me, I would like to share my screen. My presentation will be about Dr. Rula's legacy, benevolent legacy. I will start with a quotation by Dr. Rula. It is time for women to have a voice of their own in a world that is marked by gender apartheid. Women must be educated towards the agency to decide on important matters concerning their lives, their bodies, their families, and their participation in work, culture, and politics. We worked together for 8 years, and during my experience with her, we have done a lot of benevolent activities, and for that reason, I used to run the American corner at the University of Jordan, and for these activities, we were ranked the best American corner in the Middle East. During the holy month of Ramadan, for example, she supported and participated in an iftar for the orphans. Students volunteered to wear the costume. Gifts were wrapped with love for the orphans. She used to talk to everyone. She has never ignored anybody. Students had a great time with the orphans, and the reason why I brought these pictures to show her impact on the students, how they were happy to participate in these activities. A face painter volunteered with us as well. We approached almost everybody we knew to participate in such events. She encouraged employees and students to visit senior people houses, but in these pictures, we weren't allowed to take photos for senior people at that house. She organized a sports day at the Faculty of Foreign Languages. We bought t-shirts and painted on them, "Let's walk" in different languages to encourage students and employees to do sports. The sports day included a running contest, playing chess, and many other activities. She supported a project to enhance the Faculty of Foreign Languages building. We went to an artist house. We used to go every day almost to make these letters out of concrete. Students were helping in these decorations. She also used to paint, to help us painting the pavements and planting the trees. And if you can see the picture to the right, Dr. Rula is painting one of the plants. And my son in the bottom here, I brought him with me to plant a tree with us. She always believed in what Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." She supported diversity as we hosted Native Pride Dancer. It's a band consists of Native Americans who came to the university upon her invitation. She patronized the Halloween celebration. And we were celebrating Thanksgiving. Students wrote things they are thankful for. She supported the celebration of the Russian Cultural Day as well. Here are 7 years. Excuse me. She patronized a conference on International Women's Day. In the left picture, you can see a mute mother spoke about her successful story in raising her child, and how she encouraged her daughter to learn many languages. Because she can't speak, she encouraged her daughter to learn many languages. And we distributed small tokens among participants labeled with the word heroes in recognition of the role of women as heroines. We also held a conference on International Women's Day. Pioneering women were honored. The students were honored too. We held also a lecture on International Women's Day, and her dream was to fly a pigeon in one of the events celebrating women's rights. And I asked one of my colleagues to help me to bring pigeons for her as a surprise and to make her dream come true. We also held a lecture on Women's Day. She organized the bazaar to collect money for the graduation ceremony of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, and as the university was suffering from deficit at that time, so she decided to hold this bazaar to help holding the graduation ceremony for students. This is a picture from the bazaar also. She was a mother, the sister, the inspiration for many students and employees.
We have 1 minute to conclude. Sorry, Samia.
Yes. These are copies of her publications, short stories from Jordan. Most of them are about stories from Jordanian female students and the young women about their challenges and what they suffer in their life. Bad girls and of the Arab world. This title is not what exactly it means. It means it tells stories about how people look at girls or women sometimes in a stereotype way. The voice of being enough. And I was honored to design this cover for her last book. And I will end up with a quote by Dr. Rula. Arab women cannot afford to be marginalized or excluded from life or looked out of full participation in society. They need to reimagine their womanhood, which is much more than their wifehood and motherhood.
Thank you, Samia. Thank you so much. And I think not just only Arab women, I think women all over the world need to reimagine their womanhood. I really appreciate it. And I think we have a question now from the audience. And I believe that Rula's brother is actually with us. No? Can anyone help here? Is he with us?
I think he's with us, but I don't think we can see him on the screen. But we certainly want to thank Dr. Abuarquob for joining us. He's one of our participants. And I just wanted to share with our audience that I met Dr. Quawas in Athens, Greece, more than 10 years ago. And we were both with an organization of parliamentarians of Hellenic or Greek heritage. Rula and her brother, they are Greek. And I said to him, I'm thinking of coming to Jordan and I'd really like to meet some women there. And he said, you have to meet my sister. And he gave me her email address and did an introduction. And I contacted Rula and she arranged for a group of American women that I was bringing to visit Israel to also visit with her and a group of women leaders in Jordan. And from there, I introduced her to Rina and we invited her to join us. I think that you could let him speak, Lily, if you want to, if you can.
أهلاً وسهلاً دكتور قواس.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me. Yes, I've been with you since the beginning of this an excellent webinar, remembering my late sister Rula. I really have inside myself all the time which you were speaking about her, remembering her back. So thank you very much for this event. You have to excuse me because emotionally, the way how we lost her, without having any disease, and just because of a medical error. And myself as a doctor, I until now can't understand how this happened. Nevertheless, thanks for everybody who memorized her, and hope that we can see you in Amman. And all the movements which you are now guiding, you will be most welcome to our house for a dinner or lunch. You will decide about that. So thank you for getting me the opportunity to speak on this. Thank you.
Inshallah, we will visit her. She is our Mecca now, and we will visit her, inshallah, in Jordan. Thank you, Doctor. for your participation and for your emotions also, because they are real and they are speaking about the connection that you had with her. We miss her and we feel your pain.
Can I say something, Huda?
Yeah, please, Mary.
Oh, I just, we forget to say that Dr. Rula, she's the first leader for the gender center in the Jordan University. And Dr. Rula Quawas, we want to thank him because he offered to support the scholarship for the Forward Global Women about the study about Dr. Rula. And he put, a grant, in the Jordan University to marry her. I just want to say, Dr. Rula offered the tools of change to each one of her students and those who knew her. Her office was always open, just like her heart. She touched many lives in her journey, people from different religions, different social backgrounds. She was an invisible judge who worked in the court of love and dignity. Hope you are in a good place, my dear Rula. You are watching us. We will miss your presence, leadership, and guidance. And I know you work hard to make your life to be eternal, because I remember Benjamin Franklin said, if you don't want to be forgotten when you passed in this life, write something so everybody know about you, or do something so the other people talk about you. And I wish, I feel sad because she only have half life, because if this lady have a full life, it's going to be a very big thing for all the generation we have. And we're so proud in Jordan to have a lady like a Professor Rula Quawas. And I'd like to thank Forward Global Women and for the good work we used to do together just for peace and security. If
Thank
we
you,
try,
Mary.
yes, if
Thank
we
you,
make
Habibti.
life became better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jordan is in our hearts. Now remembering Rula, she loved Jordan in her own way, and she loved women in her own way, and we will continue to remember her. I know 60 minutes are not enough to bring that huge soul into life again. So we will keep her in our hearts, and we will continue walking in the direction she wanted for us. We love you all. Forward Global Women is here for you and for many women who are like Rula. And one day we will be marching with her in spirit. Thank you. And
Thank
good
you.
night. Good
Thank you
evening.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.